What's going on, y'all? I'm back with another video, and it's gonna be about the Drake and Kendrick beef. I know, before you click off though, I know, if it's not about the old shit, it's about the new shit that was supposed to be happening within the industry now. So I want to react to a video talking about it from I Used to Be Pay, but personally, I think that this is like gonna be kind of about, the party was supposed to die, watch the party die, all that. When Kendrick was going at it with Drake and he actually took the crown, or he won. It was like a narrative going on that this is going to inspire a new wave of hip hop, a new wave of artistry, a new level of creativity, and kind of the modification, no, the decommodification of just making content and pushing out, a bunch of bullshit to the masses, rap wise, and like it's gonna take some true effort and skill and innovation now. That's what people thought was gonna happen after this. And personally, I was somebody that was praying for that. I was hoping for it. I honestly thought hip hop was gonna die down even less because I was pretty sure that these artists were gonna not want to drop during all of that. And even after that, I think they wanted time for that to clear down because honestly, at the end of the day, it's about business for a lot of these people. I can understand why, you're feeding yourself, you're feeding your families. And the more attention that's on the Drake beef and the Kendrick beef, the less attention is on your music. So within that, that led me to think that there's going to be a lot of time where there's nothing happening because people aren't trying to jump the gun. That's at least how I predicted it. I was hoping there was gonna be an artistic renaissance that happens now, like a resurgence of or at least mainstream rap actually, being good again. I do not remember the last time I thoroughly enjoyed mainstream rap, and I've always liked rap in general, whether it be underground, mainstream, that mid tier. Like if it's good, it's good, And I like things for different reasons. I love Travis Scott's older shit. Even past the Astroworld era for different reasons than I would like a Griselda project, but I still like both of them. You know what I'm saying? Or different reasons that I would like a Mike project. But recently, I feel like there hasn't been any good mainstream shit coming out, and I feel like this beef was supposed to be something to reignite that, like in these narratives that people were predicting, but it just hasn't. It's honestly been really the same, or if not worse, in my opinion. So yeah, let's just see what he's got to talk about. I feel like this is the perfect time to react to it or have the discussion because of, the Joey Badass beef happening, and I made a TikTok inquiring like how what people thought about it because I don't think people care that much for real because a lot of people don't really care about like the art of rapping back and forth or the crafting of punchlines and bars and metaphors and shit like that, or the ankles and production choices. Like a lot of people just like confrontation. It's the most marketable part of really anything for some reason. So that's why I thought this was a good time to do it. So let's just see what I used to be paid got to say. Love this guy's content.
The nuclear war of Drake versus Kendrick dominated hip hop last year. There weren't too
Mm-hmm.
many things that happened in rap that were of note that were talked about that didn't somehow end up relating back to Drake versus Kendrick. The beef was everywhere, one of the most talked about things in the world. Headline news that you just couldn't avoid, including you, Lil Wayne, Mr. I didn't know the context and not like us.
I can't stand when rappers lie like this. I really can't. Like, maybe you weren't privy to everything, but you don't understand the entire context behind that. Like, I get y'all are celebrities, but y'all not that far removed from reality, from like the masses. You know what Not Like Us was. There's no way you didn't know that.
I didn't even know that was Kendrick Lamar. Okay, bruh, but the beef was everywhere.
Okay, bro. Like, come on, man.
Where the hype was real, the songs were going nuclear, and it even took over the Super Bowl. Yet, when something this big and groundbreaking happens inside the culture, there are ramifications that are felt for a very long time. And that's where we exist today. Old heads still to this day rave about the days of Tupac versus Biggie or Nas versus Jay Z.
On my TikTok, I told y'all my first time following a rap beef. Well, not really following, but being like aware of a rap beef during it actually happening was the Nicki Minaj and Remy Ma shit. And I know it sounds weird, but it's true. I was like 11 or 12, and I always watched hip hop reactors ever since I was in middle school. I always watched them because of how much I like the genre. And I was talking to my mom about it because I was like, Mom, because she watches the real hip hop housewife shows, all that shit, and Remy Ma's in it. And I'm like, Mom, why are they beefing? And she's like, beefing? What? And then I showed her the song, and it was the Sheether shit. And then my mom was like, oh my God, she's going in. She's going in. I'm like, why is it called Sheether? And my mom told me, you gotta go back. It's from before your time. It's from before your time. Bro, she got ethered, yo. I said, ethered? What the fuck? So then I learned around 11, 12 years old what ethering means and all that shit, man. All through this Nas and Jay-Z battle because I went back to YouTube to watch their lyric videos and shit. Because all this was happening before I was born, I'm pretty sure. And it's still to this day is like such a staple within just hip hop culture that we still use the term ether when you like murder somebody. So I feel like beefs are just a part of the game sometimes, man. This competition and it's a long lasting tradition. So yeah, that is kind of crazy though how long that should be lasting though. Like impact wise.
What we're currently living through is a nuclear winter.
But y'all let me know. What do y'all think what do you think is the biggest beef? Like what out of all of them, what do you think is the biggest? I think it's between Nas and Jay Z, Pac and Biggie, and Drake and Kendrick. Right? I think those are like the biggest three. Personally, I'm pretty sure I'm biased. I'm gonna say Drake and Kendrick, of course, because of their status in the game, my age, of course, like me seeing it from like the beginning, and all the build up to it, and then how long it's lasted and the impact it's having. But I could also see somebody saying Jay Z and Nas, but I think the only one that really rivals it is Pac and Biggie, bro, because this entire coast riding behind that shit. So I feel like Pac and Biggie to me is like a close second, but I'm gonna say Drake and Kendrick. But I'm very, very biased in that. I could admit that. So, but y'all let me know what y'all think is the biggest beef.
Rap. Now, most of you should understand what I'm trying to say there, but some of you might be a little younger, so let me learn you something real quick. When nuclear
Learn you
bombs go
something.
off, the effects are felt for decades in
Yeah,
that land. It makes the land inhabitable. The land becomes barren and super radioactive, essentially restarting the entire ecosystem there from
yeah.
zero, pretty much killing everything. That's what happened with a beef this big.
Watch the party die. That's what it's about.
People are sick and tired of hearing about Drake and Kendrick. Oh my God, it's April of 2025 and you're still talking about Drake and Kendrick, but that's just what happens when a beef is this big. The effects are felt for years and the conversation continues long after people think it should end. It completely takes over the news cycle and never truly goes away. This beef is a timeline stamp in rap. There
Bro,
is now before the beef.
how did y'all feel about this Bobby Altov podcast shit? She was married to a nigga, by the way, while being in bed with Drake. I know it's just a podcast, it's for the aesthetic, but it didn't have to happen like that. That shit's crazy. I watched the whole shit. It wasn't like in the background while I was cleaning. I thought it was pretty funny. I don't really hate on rappers going on these other platforms, but I do still wish there was a little bit more effort to like, you know, reach out to more like in the culture people. Like she's definitely not in the culture at all. But I think they're still allowed to be with whoever when it comes to, you know, press runs or whatever, but I'm just saying I would prefer or it'd be nice to just see them more stapled in the roots of the shit.
And after the beef. Everything that was happening before the beef just really doesn't matter anymore today. I've spoken in
Facts.
the past about the dying interest for the trap, rap caviar genre of music that's taken over
Facts.
rap for the last like 10
That Lil Baby, Lil Durk shit. People just not on it no more like that.
years or so, you know, the Lil Durk, Lil Baby, 21 Savage, that type of stuff. That was already happening before the beef, but after the beef, it was
Yeah.
accelerated by like 20. People saw Lil Baby drop an album at the start of this year, and they looked at it and they just kind of went, eh, and went back to talking about Kendrick and Drake. This beef, in a sense, cut a lot of the BS that was gaining traction in the rap landscape at the time, but right now it feels like we're kind of stuck in a cycle. Like somebody comes, drops something, people go, yeah, it was cool. That was all right, cool, yeah, that was decent. And then it's back to talking about Drake and Kendrick. Like
Literally. Every project that comes out, it just gets glossed over.
Lil Baby came, dropped his album. Oh, okay. It's all right. 6 out of 10. Not bad. Not terrible. But do you really think Not Like Us was botted? Oh my gosh, Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez just dropped an album from behind bars. That's crazy. Wow, man. Okay. Not bad. Ooh, okay. Oh, we're not listening to him
Drake lawsuit?
anymore. He's canceled by Meg. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine too. Whatever. Cool. But Do you think it's okay to sue during a rap beef?
See, I knew he was gonna do the lawsuit shit. I knew he was gonna say that part. Yeah, that shit's crazy.
Oh my gosh, Lil Durk. Lil Durk just dropped. Wow, Durk from the Feds. Man, this dude's probably facing life, man. This might be one of the last albums we ever hear from Durk. Man, that's crazy. Oh man, it's not bad. Oh, about 60K first week. Oh, that's pretty good. Do you think Kendrick made the Luther video black and white to go at and kind of combat Nokia and Drake's video being in black and white? One of the
Mm,
only things that has really stuck in hip hop over the last year or so was Playboi Carti's album Music. The album went number
that's facts. That's facts. I'm sorry, not to Cardi Glaze, but throughout this whole time period, when it comes to major releases, the only major releases that I've gotten some stain, in my opinion, like public recognition wise, from like the top dogs of music in general that I've been seeing is the Weeknd's album. Cause Hurry Up Tomorrow was great. It was really good. I can't cap. And then the Cardi shit, I Am Music. And if we're just talking about just rap, then I've only really seen Cardi really make waves for real. I don't know what it's gonna take to up that cycle within the bigger artists. I don't know what it's gonna take, but I do know that Cardi needs to be studied right now because the way he's been curating his audience to even blow past the biggest beef in hip hop history, arguably, that's pretty impressive. And he's a non-lyrical rapper too. That's pretty impressive.
number one for 3 weeks. It had 31 entries into the Hot 100, 300K first week. The album was huge, and it still has some staying power now over a month later. This is one of the only things that has happened since the start of the beef that's had its own moment and movement. One of the other things that has caught fire in the aftermath of the
Hey
beef
yo.
is just kind of Doechii in general. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
specifically the anxiety song really being everywhere and being huge, but Doechii
Like people don't even like that shit. That's the crazy part. I don't know. I gotta listen to Doechii more.
also winning a Grammy while being propped up as the next big thing. Doechii and that song have been everywhere so much that people have started to accuse her of being an industry plant.
That's true.
Getting in the pool.
Cardi and Doechii seem to be the only people in this like postmodern Drake and Kendrick beef landscape that have staying power. Now, obviously, I'm speaking on the people that have dropped since then. I'm not speaking on like Nicki Minaj or J. Cole, who hasn't dropped. Of the people that are currently active and really trying to get it out here, they're the only ones with real staying power. But even still, what are people talking about today? Why is Kendrick Lamar still performing these diss tracks? Oh my gosh. Why is
True.
Kendrick dragging it? Can he even exist without Drake? Why is Kendrick acting like he's in a deposition? Drake's not suing him. Everything still revolves around Drake and Kendrick. All roads still lead back to Drake and Kendrick, even when Cardi's album first came out. And it was the nuclear hot thing, the only thing people were talking about in rap, bigger than Drake and Kendrick at the moment, hotter than everyone else. Still, a major part of the conversation was, well, why is Kendrick on this album? He doesn't fit on this album. Oh my gosh, Kendrick has so many features on Cardi's album. Why?
And they funny ass pause. And most of the rhetoric about the features was all about Kendrick being a hypocrite because he's basically making songs with um a deadbeat. And after talking about how Drake was a deadbeat, and also talking about how this is like he did this shit before with Kodak, and we just keep letting him do hypocritical shit feature wise. Honestly, I don't really care that much. I'm not gonna lie. Like the shit sounded fire. It was cool. I don't see too much of the bad like immoral deadbeat like shit that was going on through with Cardi's life. I don't know too much about it. If it's hypocritical, it's hypocritical. I just don't think people care as much as they're leading on. I think it's this thing that I, in my head, think of it as like artificial outrage. Like you're just looking for a reason to be mad about something due to boredom or due to trying to push a narrative that you already wanted to push before you saw what you saw. That's just my opinion on it, though.
Why is he here? Oh my gosh. Kendrick's trying to steal the spotlight from the new wave. He's trying to steal from the young guys. Like, that was still a major part of that conversation. Kendrick and Drake reset the market, and more than anything, it feels like people are kind of scared to drop right now. Like, there were already rumors that
Yep,
people
that's what
were
I'm
kind
saying.
of fearful of dropping because they didn't want to flop, because everyone's numbers seem to be kind of coming down at a certain point. Then on top of that, you add the biggest beef of all time. Everyone collectively ran inside. They're all just standing there at their blinds peeking through, seeing if it's safe or not to drop now. But the
Yeah.
thing is, I don't know if it's ever going to be safe to drop at this point. Kendrick Lamar just started his stadium tour, and Luther is still the #1 song in America.
Oh my God. I just remembered. Chromacopia dropped. Nigga, Tyler the Creator and his loyal ass fan base. That album dropped in November, right before, um, right before Kendrick dropped GNX. But by that time, Kendrick already dropped all the diss songs and all that. The beef already did what it did. Tyler the Creator dropped, and I'm not gonna lie, that shit to me, it didn't last that long. Public notoriety wise, like besides Like Him and Sticky, I wasn't hearing too many people talk about Chromacopia that much, and I feel like it deserves a lot more talking about because it's really really good. Especially songs like Him, like people just keep using it in the edits and things like that on TikTok, which is cool. But the artistic direction he went to, the narratives that he kind of crafted through in his life, like layer by layer of how he's like scared of, committing to like, making a family because not because, but maybe because of how it was for him coming up without his dad and stuff like that and things like that. Uh, you know, it's talking about the culture vulturing. He had a lot going on in that album, and honestly, the biggest thing they talked about concept wise really just about the Ian beef. They barely talked about like the big reveal that his mom was the one who kept the dad away, and that didn't start any conversations, which is crazy to me. But yeah, even like that's how you know this beef is that crazy. That this nuclear winter thing is not no joke. Like Tyler the Creator, one of the biggest. Even his album, like talking wise, the conversations were not lasting that much, which is crazy to me.
And Drake's Nokia is not too far behind, sitting at #3 right now, looking like it's probably going to be one of the biggest songs of the summer of 2025. And also, by
Yeah,
the
no
way, yeah,
kids going up.
Somebody Loves Me is in the rearview mirror waving at you as it slowly approaches you and probably ends up being one of the bigger songs of the summer as well. If you're not connected to this beef in some way, it's looking scary for these guys' numbers. Tyler the Creator had success in his album Chroma.
I just, it's like this nigga's reading my mind. I just brought up Tyler the Creator. I just brought up him in that chromacopia shit. It's like he's reading my mind.
Copia, but that's because Tyler's an anomaly at this point. Like he's gonna do what he does. Future's done.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about his numbers. That's why like Tyler's numbers were still great. They're always gonna be, it's Tyler. I'm just saying conversation wise, I wasn't hearing too much about it as long as I feel like I should have been because it's really good. But the numbers, of course, are the numbers he's doing, and people are showing up still. It's Tyler. I just meant like hip hop discourse.
Well with his projects, but he's also tied into the beef. We saw Uzi's numbers with
Yeah,
his last project. Even Kanye West dropped once or twice since the beef, and he was looked at as a side plot in the grand scheme of things as he was taking shots at both Kendrick and Drake.
that's because he was on some nut shit, bro. Let's be real. Yeah, that shit don't even really count as real music to me.
With the hopes of garnering some attention. It seems as if the only stuff that is not only able to gain notoriety, but also able to have some staying power as well, is stuff with real substance and real authentic support behind it. Now, I know it sounds crazy for me to say Cardi is real substance to some of you out there. I know you might still be on that. This is mumble rap garbage from 20.
If you still using the term mumble rap in 2025, I just know I can't talk to you about anything. You're in a whole different like realm of existence. You're not in my reality to me.
To some of you out there, I know you might still be on that. This is mumble rap garbage from 2016 stuff, but you got to get out of the past. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that you have to like Cardi's music, but you have to at least acknowledge it and acknowledge that it's here, it's massive, and it has real, genuine, authentic support. One of the only movements right now that is really, really big with pretty much 100% authentic support. Look at Ken Carson. He just did 55K first week. Like, you just have to acknowledge that. There's no more running from it. The
that
discussions
album was
between
good
Drake
too.
and Kendrick are not even close to done yet. Like, listen, I know, sorry to spoil it for some of you guys who are hoping that all this stuff would be wrapped up by now, but it's nowhere near done yet. The comparisons aren't done. Now, maybe the beef as a whole is done
Bro.
in terms of like diss tracks back and forth. I don't really see any of that happening in the near future, but the numbers comparisons aren't done. The music comparisons aren't done. Who dropped the better album? Whose single is better? Whose support is actually authentic? Who sold out what? Who did what in terms of venues? Like, that stuff isn't done. People aren't done picking sides, fans and artists included. Right now, we're
Yep.
living in the shadows of the beef, and we don't really know what's going to come as a result of it. New artists are shuffling around and trying to find their place in hip hop, kind of like a Big X to plug. And
Hmm.
other artists who have been at the forefront of rap over the last few years or so are trying to desperately hold on to their spot. I truly believe that in 10 years, we will look back on this beef as kind of like the restart. We'll look back on it as a start of a new era in hip hop, the beef kind of acting as like a great flood, to use a biblical term. We're
That's facts. That's facts. And also another thing that I meant to say too that's gonna be affected are features. Like they're gonna like rappers. Rappers they have their alliances, they choose their sides, they have their more frequent collaborators, and they also have people that they never collaborate with because of other politics and all types of shit. So that was kind of like another thing that's been influencing this nuclear winter, as he puts it, because it's like art is a collaborative endeavor, especially music wise. So because of shit like this, we may not hear we may not ever hear of the What a Time to Be Alive 2 that we all wanted. We may not hear Drake on the Uzi song because Uzi was working on the Cardi project, and Cardi was on the album with Kendrick on it. I don't know. There's like so much shit that we just don't know that goes into their mindsets before making a song with somebody else, or even clearing a song. Because I still want to hear At the Gates. If you don't know what At the Gates is, it's the unreleased Uzi and Drake song, and it sounds fire. I still want to hear that song. I still want to hear that Drake and Benny the Butcher a song that was previewed like years ago. There's still so much shit that I want to hear that's just not out officially, and sometimes it's affected because of features. And beef, whether you like it or not, does affect features. It really does.
not going from songs like Push Ups and Euphoria back to 2023, Lil Baby. The fans just aren't doing that. I'm sorry. We're expecting something fresh and something with some substance. The industry and the labels will always have a hand in what's popping and what's not. But now more than ever, it does feel like that influence is a bit weaker than normal. I truly believe that 2, 3, 4 years ago, Four Bats would have been a much bigger deal. Four Bats, you remember him,
Facts. I
right?
remember Four
You like
Bats. Him and Ansia are dating, and no one's even talking about that either. And I talked about Ansia on my artist to look out for in 2024. I feel like that video that I made, the artist to look out for, not in 2024, the artist to look out for in 2025. I feel like that video I made is so heavily impacted by this beef because so many people that are brought up are actually like they're doing their thing, but they're not breaking through because of the nuclear winter. Like I talked about Ansia because she's to me she's one of the better female rappers. I talked about Nino Pate, and he's going crazy. He's going ballistics right now. But if this is like 2023, he'd be like I feel like he'd be like selling out a lot of shows and shit. Like he's doing huge things. I talked about DC2 Trill. Talked about Chance the Rapper, and how he's supposed to make his comeback. So many people as I talked about are really affected. But if you really take this beef out of it, I think they'd be doing way bigger numbers. Excuse me.
maybe about a year ago, 2 years ago, he had the co-signs from Drake. He had the co-signs from Kanye randomly. He gets a Drake feature randomly. And they were really trying to make Four Bats a thing, but it just kind of went away. A few years ago, 5 years ago, that probably would have worked. But in this era, I truly believe that stuff like that will not be as successful as it used to be. People are complaining about a bit of a dead period in rap, and that's real. I get that. But Kendrick and Drake essentially killed the game, and they're still strangling it to this day. But the result of this will be something completely fresh and new, and something that we might have desperately needed for a very long time.
I
But
agree.
that's going to be the end of my video. If you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know down below in the comments. Either way, if you made it this far, again, I appreciate you. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe. Do all those things. I hope you have a good day. Be safe, be blessed. I go by the name of Pay. Peace.
And then a fucking picture of AI Diddy. ALW vid, throw that a like. It's not letting me like it. What the fuck? Mm. All right, boom. So yeah, what do y'all think about this whole nuclear winter concept within the rap game right now? This slow period right now. I feel like it's necessary. Sometimes you need to reset things to get a better result. And within resetting, there's a lot of silence. That's within our personal lives. That's within nature. So it's within the hip hop games, within business. You gotta have them slow, quiet moments. I'm just hoping that whatever comes after that isn't a regression, because I feel like we haven't talked about how that's a possibility too. Like we could honestly regress, because sometimes things got to get worse before they get better. And also like in creative processes or processes, however you say it, right? After you just make a phenomenal, amazing piece of body of work, right? A lot of times you gotta make some bullshit after that to get back into making other good shit, because you're resetting your method for what you're doing after. Because now you don't want to just repeat the same shit, but to do something new, you got to start somewhere. And most of the times when you start in something, it's not the best thing. It's usually ass because you're just starting. But it's a building block to the next piece and the next piece and the next piece and the next piece until you get back to something even better than your last phenomenal thing, because it's so new and it's so refreshed. So if you take that into consideration with music, there's gonna probably be a few duds that are gonna be hitting us, and we kind of just gotta endure until that next wave of inspiration, that real like good sounding shit comes again. I feel like it's necessary. We just got to be patient. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments about what's going on with this slow period of rap when it comes to the mainstream or whatever. Airwave Knee is my YouTube, Airwave Knee is my TikTok, and Airwave Knee is my IG. Appreciate you guys for watching. Y'all have a blessed day. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. But yeah, thank you again. All the love and the support is not unnoticed. Catch you in the next one.